What's it do, buddy? What's there, buddy? It is C. Will back here with another race reaction, and tonight we're going to be watching the 1999 Excite Batteries 400 at Richmond. And today I'm joined alongside with Mike
Hello.
and Dalton.
How's it going, everybody?
So tonight we're going to be watching night racing at Richmond. We've watched Richmond at the fairgrounds this week in 1985. We watched Richmond in 92 and in 2003. But this time we're watching in 99. What are some of y'all's expectations and maybe also your prediction for who's going to win the race?
Well, I'm excited to see this race. We watched 1992's Richmond race a few months back with Cam, I believe. And that was a pretty exciting race, and 99 season seemed to be pretty exciting. So I got some good expectations for this race, and I think that Tony Stewart will win this race.
Yeah, basically like what Mike said. Racing under the lights at a short track, it cannot be any better. Like I love nighttime racing. Like it is always the best. And my prediction to win this race, I'm gonna say Rusty Wallace.
That's a good pick by both of y'all. Wallace was really good at Richmond. I know there's a couple times he ended up falling short of the win. So we'll see how this goes. On the pole for this race is Mike Skinner. Tony Stewart will be starting outside of him in row number 1. Rusty Wallace will be starting 3rd in this race, Labonte 4th, and Jeff Bodine 5th. But we'll look more into that, and we'll point out more of the drivers as we go along. This stream, we will not be having announcer audio just because of technical issues we had on the last stream. Just want to be careful in regarding that, and we don't want everyone's audio cut off. So just doing it for the video and audio purpose of having quality content. So let's go ahead and get right. Looks like we're going green now.
Man, I wish NASCAR would bring these back.
And we're underway at Richmond. The field races into turn 1. We see Mike Skinner side by side with Tony Stewart.
Here comes Tony.
Oh, Jimmy Spencer kind of went up the track there to the side of Mayfield.
Ooh, close.
Skinner leading lap 1, and Stewart, though, holding his own on the outside lane, and his teammate Bobby Labonte's right behind him.
Dang, 3 wide back there.
And Stewart's in the lead now.
See, this is good racing, not like Richmond of today.
It's early.
Look, I'm sorry, but I got to crap on Richmond any chance I get, all right?
Mike's a genuine, I wouldn't say a certified Richmond hater, but he definitely doesn't like, look at that pass there.
Oh, that was nice.
Bobby Labonte looking for the lead right now.
Now Skinner got that lead back. See if he could hold it. Oh, he went up the track a little.
3 wide? No.
Dale Jr.'s back there in 18th. I haven't seen Seniors. He must start really far back.
And Rusty side by side with Gordon for 4th back there.
Yep. There's Dale Jr. underneath Dale Jarrett.
Battle of the Dales.
Dale. Do it for Dale. I would, as I've mentioned earlier, there's no announcer audio. Don't want to risk copyright, but also don't want to risk having the audio issue that we did last time. So just being on the safe side until we get things sorted out regarding that. As we can see, Stewart's now cleared Skinner for the lead again.
Great battles just all around the track.
Rick Mast is in front of Junior and Bill Elliott in that colorful car. Looks like what's those snacks called? Sour, no, not sour drops.
Oh, Labonte getting underneath Skinner for second.
Yeah. Labonte was really good in '99 and 2000. Of course, Labonte won the 2000 championship. 2000, yeah, he won in 2000. He had a pretty solid year in 2001 as well. But Labonte, once he went to the 18 car, he did really well. Oh, contact farther
Oh,
on back.
ooh.
More contact.
Jeff Gordon just waiting there to bounce in case one of them slips up.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt's up 8 spots. He started 30-30s in 25th. Yeah, Jeff Gordon's. I always liked Jeff Gordon's Rainbow Warriors car, especially at night. And as you could see, of those watching the stream, I have a Jeff Gordon shirt on right now. The Rainbow Warriors car is definitely one of the most iconic schemes in NASCAR history. But
I got an ad.
oh boy, here we go with the ads. Ad number 1. All right, so we'll just whenever Mike's ad ends, we'll pick back up at.
And Skinner's just basically holding both of them up. Like it's kind of like a.
Oh, here comes Bobby.
Oh boy.
Now you know what I would really find interesting. What if the Winged Warriors raced at this Richmond? What it would look like? That's something I've always wondered. Like, what would it really look like, and how long would the race be?
Oh, Jeff Gordon about to make a pass on Skinner for second.
Gotcha.
Audio is good, Christian.
Awesome. So you can hear all of us?
I think that the Wing Warriors racing at Richmond would be interesting. It would be a big showcase of speed, but they are a little wide, so it'd be interesting to see how they could race on this track.
Yeah.
Oh, major contact back there. Whoa.
Ward Burt. Oh, great save by Ward.
Mark Martin.
A lot of damage, though.
Was in that. Here we go, the onboard. He just jammed up there. They're all slowing down to avoid mass.
Yeah.
Martin's got some damage.
So does Ward? Yeah, Ward's got damage, too.
Sterling Marlin
That's not
over
good.
the back of him.
Oh, Gordon uses the bumper.
Early.
Yeah.
Well, in '98, if I'm correct, Rusty Wallace spun Gordon out while battling with Terry Labonte for the lead in that race and took Gordon out of the race, and it was a big deal at that time.
I mean, Jeff has bumped Rusty, too, so fair play.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair play between both of them, so.
Yeah, they both have had their bump and run moments, that's for sure. As you see, Ted Musgrave's actually in 12th right now in the 75. Junior's up to 14th. He's moved up about 10 spots.
And Tony Stewart is basically checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might actually get a pick right for once.
Oh, there's Kevin LePage in the 16. He's in 27th. Johnny Benson, the 26 car. Chad Little. I really like the Chad Little 97 John Deere paint scheme. That was one of my favorite paint schemes growing up. Like seeing, I still have the diecast of that. Wow, Rudd's all the way back in 39th. What's going on, Ricky? Yeah, Stewart right now has a pretty big lead, but it seems like Gordon's the fastest car other than him at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like Gordon, if it comes down to like later on in the race, I feel like it's going to be either between Gordon or Stewart battling for the win.
I haven't seen that many people at Richmond in a long time. I remember in like 2011, around like 2010, 2011, Richmond always had a big crowd, but nothing of like a sellout in years at that track.
Definitely better attendance than what we have today.
At all tracks, too, not just this one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, some of the races like nowadays, as Labonte got back by Gordon, like some of the tracks now, like the Coca-Cola 600, Darlington, you see Daytona, Talladega, those will sell a lot of tickets, and a lot of people will be there. But there's some tracks that it just doesn't. There's just not as many people as there used to be, like Bristol. Especially with like now since they've done the dirt race, there was a decent crowd there last year when I went, but it's not like a flat sellout like last great Coliseum used to be. Another track, as I mentioned before, like I just mentioned Richmond, their attendance isn't as big as it once was. Um, Michigan's another one I could think of. Pocono, NASCAR Indianapolis also. Like the first, I would say for about 15 years or so, the Indianapolis 5 or the Brickyard 400 had so many fans in the stands, and then once it got to 2010s, around 2012, it started to dwindle.
Yeah.
Hey, Rusty Wallace back in 10 after he started third. Kind of slipped there. Oh, we got battle for the lead.
There goes Bobby Labonte getting by his teammate.
I always loved Bobby Labonte's paint scheme back then. That was so cool to see on track.
Yeah, and Tony Stewart's 20 Home Depot car was a classic too. I prefer Tony Stewart's Home Depot schemes from his first couple years in the season compared to later on in his career.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah.
I also agree.
We all agree tonight. I wonder when they're going to start lapping cars. I think they will be soon.
Oh, I got another ad.
Mike, what's going on with your ads tonight, my guy?
Ad counter 2 compared to 0 and 0.
There was one race we did at Riverside. I think it was the 87 Riverside. Cam had like 15 ads in that race.
Yeah. That was recent too, actually.
That was like a couple months ago. So I guess we'll all start back at 9. This the old school rear view camera view with the statistics there on the bottom.
Amazing how fast they got it to slow down to about 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. Just by Hamilton was down in the 4 car this time. Martin's still in 17th despite the little bit of nose damage. Earnhardt's up about 12 spots. Tony Stewart just took the lead right back from Labonte.
Definitely, he's got the fastest car tonight.
A lot of lead changes early in this race.
And a lot of good battles, too, on top of that.
Yeah, we watched 85 Richmond. There was maybe only 3 lead changes in the first, 80 laps or so. But right now, there's been, 6 in the first, 30 laps. Almost. Yeah, Kenny Wallace in the 55 was pretty solid at some points. 2000 at Talladega, he ended up finishing second in that race, and Wallace had a couple races in 99, 2000 where he definitely had a car that could have maybe contended for a win, but just wasn't able to get it done.
Oh,
we got a car on the wall.
I think that's
98.
Rick Mast in the 98 maybe.
Yep.
That was
looks like a tire. Oh, that tire is done too, actually.
Let's see if that results in the yellow.
I think it's more than just a tire. Like you can see the whole wheel just shaking. So I wonder if he broke something else as well.
Huh. Only dirt running at the end of all 24 races this year. Until now, probably.
Yeah, you can see it looks like it broke an axle or something. Or not an axle, but something in the wheel part area.
Oh, there's that 41 Kodak car, which I've seen in person. I've seen my friend David Hill owns one of those cars. I don't think it's the exact one for this race, obviously, but it's pretty cool to see it in a race as 36 laps are completed. Jeffrey Bodin's holding pretty solidly in the top 10. Yeah, right now they're going through lap traffic. Oh, another tire.
Oh, Newman. Oh, no, excuse me, Mayfield. What a dumb statement by me.
It happens.
Oh man.
Hey, at least it's not like that one time we were watching the 2002 Talladega race and Cam said, "Isn't this Johnson? Wasn't this his third year?" At least it wasn't like that, but it's okay. Yeah, Mayfield. I really like the Pegasus mobile car.
Dang, that whole tire is gone. Like it's like nothing but like just a very few cords on it.
That thing looked like a good old Steam Raptor Taco Bell. Yeah, that joke did not hit. Well, anyways, um, yeah, he's really trying to get back going. He probably lost like 2 laps there. Just Darrell Waltrip in the 66. I wonder who's fourth right now. I think it's Skinner. Maybe. Yeah. Still fourth. Park moved up. Is there any drivers that you're kind of surprised to see in the front at the moment?
Musgrave.
I mean, like from what I've seen so far, like it's not like I don't know what you want to call it. Not too surprising, but also like not what's the word? I can't think of at the moment, but basically you see what I mean. Like it's not like it's basically normal somewhat ish.
Jerry Nadeau's following a lap down in the 36. Mast is off the track, obviously. Mayfield actually lost 3 laps, and Robert Presley's off the track. I didn't even notice Robert Presley was off the track. But Dale Earnhardt's moved up 14 spots to 19th. Sadler's moved up 15 spots. Off the pick, Wallace has lost 13 spots, so your pick is not doing too well right now, Dalton.
Oh.
Yeah, man, I got bad luck.
Yeah, that tire is absolutely wasted. As I mentioned before, I would turn on the YMCG here, but he was reporting, but we don't want to risk audio issues like we had last stream. Want to be able to hear everybody. As you see, Jeff Gordon's trying to get by Labonte on the outside lane, but he's trapped between Ward Burton and Darrell Waltrip. Surprised there hasn't been any caution so far.
$111 days to the year 2000.
Yeah, Ward Burton's having a really tough race right now. He got checked up by the Rick Mass incident. He fell back, and then now he's now he's pretty much a lap down, and it's really needing a caution.
Yeah, and especially with all the damage that he's got, that's affecting his horsepower, or not his horsepower, but affecting the aerodynamics of his car.
Yeah, it definitely can, and it also could affect the heating of that car as well and the engine.
It's true too.
Just depends on how hard he got hit. Can't really tell if it's engine damage causing, but here's another replay of it. Mass was slowing up there, and they just tried to check up. Oh, wow, that's a big hit.
Oh.
Terry Labonte.
Whoa.
A lot of tire issues.
Down for like 5 seconds, and all of a sudden he's damaged.
Yeah, we got a lot of damage here, and tires going down early in this race. Looks like we'll have a caution also. This is right behind Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, wow.
It looked like definitely on the right side. Can't tell if it was the rear or the front tire.
Yeah, it's the front.
Yeah, front.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's right. Oh, that's a hard hit, especially with how fragile these car bodies were back then compared to what we have now.
Yeah, that car's smoking. Yeah, there's a lot of accidents that I've seen at Richmond, like especially in the past, where drivers just blew tires going into the corners and just really hard head-on hits into the wall.
And you can tell the disappointment that he has.
So what y'all's thought says it looks like we'll probably get into green flag pit stops here, or not green flag, yellow flag pit stops. I wonder if the commercials cut that out or not. But what is y'all's thoughts on the race so far overall in regard to racing?
I am enjoying it a ton right now. It's been great racing all around the track, and I got another ad to which I skipped. That's 3 ads on the night.
Well, I'm just going to continue watching the pit stops here. And whenever we get pit stop stopped, we'll find a good
I'm
starting
on the
point.
pit stops right, like they're entering pit stops right now.
Yeah, I think I'm a little ahead, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think so. Because I'm at 19 minutes right now, so I'm like right at the point where they're like on pit road right now,
Tony Stewart got
and
off
it's
first.
buffering for me.
Oh, Ted Musgrave about hit the back bumper of another car. All right, let me see here. It's a good starting point. 20.
Also, is it?
Oh, let's skip ahead to 23:14. Yeah, and
It's all
everything
good.
is not canceled. Okay. All right, are we all there?
Yep, we're good.
Yes.
All right, we'll start back in 3, 2, 1, play. Looks like we're about to go back green here after that caution. And this back end obviously is when, the inside lane was for the lap cars on restarts. Mayfield's trying to get a lap back on Stewart, who's trying to pull away here. Jeff Gordon's in second. Mike Skinner's in third. If not Skinner, then I think Jeff Bodine might be third. Labonte lost spots on that pit stop. Yeah, Jeff Bodine's in third, so Labonte's now just in front of it looked like Musgrave. Look at this, Jeff Bodine in the 60 trying to get underneath Jeff Gordon here for second. Wow.
It looks like he might get. Well, maybe not. Turn 3, turn 4, he might. No, Jeff Gordon's hanging strong.
Good battle there.
Okay, there he goes.
Burden,
There he clears for second.
Jeff Burden's been working his way up a little bit. Mark Martin did too.
I love that Valvoline 6 scheme that he had.
Yeah, it is definitely one of my favorites as well. Mike, what is some of your favorite schemes of that you've seen so far this race?
Bobby Labonte's. I like Jeremy Mayfield's. Definitely Jeff Gordon's. It's pretty much. I don't mind Mike Skinner's that much and Mark Martin.
Gotcha. We haven't seen Dale Earnhardt Sr. yet, really, but we've seen Dale Jr. working his way up. Senior's been working his way up as well. Kenny Irwin Jr. started in the top 10, but he's fallen back to like 22nd, I think. I may be wrong, but
we might have a battle for the lead here.
yeah. Oh, here's the battle of the Jeffs here. Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon had plenty of battles in the late 90s.
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Oh, he's running them up really
Whoa!
high.
Here comes Mark Martin to join the party too.
Bumping. Yeah, Jeff Gordon's been able to hold the middle lane pretty well. Mark Martin's trying to capitalize on Jeff Burton. Ricky Rudd's moving up some. He was back in like 38th. Now he's in 27th. Yeah, Mark Martin's been on the move, as you can see there on the screen.
He's a man on a mission.
For real.
Burton's coming for him, it looks like. I like that paint scheme too.
Yeah.
I could go on and on.
I'll tell you what, there were some really good schemes back in 1999.
Yeah. Well, as we're going through the race right now, I just want to say those watching the stream, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, follow. Really appreciate it on the road to 1K, and make sure to go follow Dalton and Mike as well. Their links are in the description as well. Also, as in the description is the new podcast episode as Dale Earnhardt Sr. start making his way up there. He just got by Steve Park and Ward Burton.
And now he's going to pass the Kodak car. Oh, no. Yeah, that is the Kodak car, yeah.
Bobby Hamilton and Bill Elliott's just in front of him.
Dang, tight racing off of turn 2 right there.
One thing you have to think about this, too. I wonder if Dale Earnhardt, I mean, yeah, he has a fast car, but is he over using his equipment right now? Is he stressing the car out? But who knows? Earnhardt was a veteran at this time, and he knew what was the limit of the cars. So he knows what he's doing.
The GOAT.
Stewart's been able to hold off pretty much everybody so far except for Labonte when Labonte got by him.
Y'all are going to hate me right now.
You got another ad?
Yep, Mr. Beast.
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Beast.
4 ads. Like, jeez. God.
And so far, I'm over here with 0 ads over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, ad blocker on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't even have
ad blocker on. Oh, wait a minute. I know why I don't have ad block on. It's because I'm not on the right browser.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. Hey,
like we're gonna have to call
while we have a minute, we could fix that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go do that. I don't know why, but it started my Windows browser. I usually use Chrome. It just went back to the Windows browser.
Maybe it's like, okay, we got to make you watch these ads, and we're not going to pay these bills.
For real.
Oh, what? Hold on, I gotta look at. I gotta search it up. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it. That's 99 X-side right? So hopefully no more ads in this video, or else I'm gonna be really upset.
Mike rages are kind of funny though, but anyways.
Yes, y'all should listen to me when Joey Logano loses.
No. I wonder how the 2021 Daytona 500 was like.
Oh, it was madness.
Oh my God. Can I tell the story? Can I tell the story?
Yeah, in a sec. I was just going to say the 44 Hot Wheels car is one of my favorite schemes, but go ahead.
Yeah, facts. So 2021 Daytona 500. I stayed up till midnight to watch the race, as I would most times. And I remember Joey was winning, and I thought he was going to win because I felt like he had the fastest car, right?
Yeah.
And I remember because for those of you that don't know, when I watch NASCAR, except when I'm tired, I am very into it. Like if I'm watching the whole race and Logano's winning and I have plenty of energy, I am going to be into it. I'm going to be a toxic MFer. And I remember when McDowell got into Keselowski, it was a racing incident, but at the time I didn't realize it. And I live in an apartment, for those of you that don't know. So we have a curfew that we have to be quiet at, and it's at 9:00. And this was like 12:15, 12:30 at night. And McDowell shoots Keselowski into Logano, and they both wreck. And I am screaming, "No! What the fuck, Keselowski? What? You stupid please! F you, Keselowski! What the?" It was so bad. And I was watching the race in my mom's room, and she's like, "Mike, shut up. Mike, shut up." No, it gets worse. It gets worse. I was like slamming stuff. I was stomping the floor. I was screaming. My dad woke up. He's like, "Mike, shut the F up." I almost cried. The list goes on. I started cussing McDowell out on Instagram. People were cussing me out because I was being intolerable, which is probably valid. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. I wanted Keselowski to go bleep himself. I wanted to drive to Daytona and beat Keselowski up. Overall, I was not a very happy person. And Joey was getting interviewed, and he actually handled it a lot better than I did.
Yeah, I was about to say he handled that a lot better than Mike could.
Yeah, he was like, it's just unfortunate. And I'm like, no, it's not unfortunate. You got dumped. And he's like, congratulations to Michael. And I was like, man, F Mike.
Hey, Mike. But anyways, yeah, like I remember seeing like your reaction to it in group chats and stuff, Mike. And I remember I was on a FaceTime call with Cam, I think. We were watching the race together because he couldn't see it. He was watching it through my phone. And I remember like him just gasping when he saw that wreck at the finish. And he was like, "What just happened? Who won?" And yeah, I remember everyone in group chats were going wild and everything. But yeah, definitely I was happy to see McDowell actually get a win because he's never won a Cup Series race in so many tries, and I was hoping he'd finally get one, and he did. Maybe not in that manner, but hey, he got it. He got one finally. Keselowski, I still wish he could end that losing streak. It's been a couple years now, and Dalton, you're a Keselowski fan, so can you describe
that was.
for us?
Wait, pause a second before we get back into this conversation. I got a little behind. What time are you guys at?
34 flat.
34.
Oh wow, I'm like way behind. Holy, I'm at 31:06.
How are you that
Damn.
far back?
It kept buffering on me, and I couldn't get past it.
Okay, I'm at 34 flat now.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to 34 flat.
All right, I'm almost there.
Yeah,
sorry, I got behind while we were talking, so
you're good. Jeff Wodine's battling with Jeff Gordon there.
Yeah, I see it now. Thanks.
All right, I'm there now.
Oh man. Alrighty. Let's start back in 3, 2, 1, go. But as you were saying.
Yeah, I know Dalton, you're a Keselowski fan. Overall, man, it was just a shocking night. I think I remember. Did I go on the call with you and Cam?
I don't remember if you did. I just remember you were in group chats like raging. That's all I remember.
No, what? I went in like 3 group chats like, no, F you,
Overall, though, that night was painful. I thought for sure Keselowski was going to get it.
Yeah, I thought Logano was going to get it. He had the faster car.
Yeah,
And
like
honestly, that was
even
like so boring. That race was so boring. It was just train most of the race.
it really was for sure.
Yeah.
Until the very end, when we saw like a big old fireball at the end.
Now I gotta, because we were doing NAS Boys at that time. Now I gotta watch my recap video of that race.
No.
Oh, I didn't get mad. It was a couple days later, and I cooled down.
Oh, okay, we're good.
I promise I wasn't upset.
I think we had a caution here. I think we had a caution. That's why everyone's on pit road.
Yeah, I don't know for what. Probably debris. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna actually search my reaction up on YouTube while we wait.
Yeah, we got Stewart off first again. It seemed.
Well, 40. Was it 47?
Man,
No.
Earnhardt had a slow stop. He's really far back.
Wasn't it like episode 5 or 6?
The caution was for Kyle Petty and Darrell Waltrip, I think, and then Kyle Petty comes down the track. See what else that was for. No, so the caution was basically just a little rubbing between Kyle Petty and Darrell Waltrip here. It doesn't look that serious. But
so is that just rubbing?
Yeah, they were just hidden there. It didn't seem like it was that serious.
What?
Oh, I have that diecast of Darrell Waltrip.
The Route 66 car?
Yeah, I have that. That same exact car too.
The Route 66.
Yep.
There's Johnny Andretti's in the top 10 now.
Oh, someone. Wait, what jersey was that? Oh, I couldn't see. Dang it! It was too blurry on my end to see whose jersey was holding up.
It was a Browns jersey, I think.
Oh.
The field's lining back up for a restart here. Everyone stands up. And we're back green.
Green.
Man, Stewart's been getting amazing restarts. Mayfield's still trying to get a lap back. And the 36 car in front of him, I forgot who was in the 36 at this time. I don't think it was Schrader just yet. Wally Dahlmack Jr. in the 25 there, and Bodon's trying to get underneath Skinner for 4th. Wallace has moved his way back up a little bit, Dalton.
Yay! For once, my pick is actually not doing horrible, and like he was at the beginning where he fell off a cliff.
Maybe that happens early on. They see what's going wrong and they have to make an adjustment.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you pick again, Dalton?
Rusty Wallace.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Kenny Norman Jr.'s up there in the 28 car at the time. There's Dale Earnhardt trying to get on the outside of Kyle Petty, and there's Ricky Rudd behind them. Earnhardt, he had a slower stop, it appeared, on that last pit stop, and he's trying to work his way back up. Kyle Petty was part of that last caution. Rudd's been pretty much in the back the entire race. Oh, Burden got really close to Skinner there. You get to see it's pretty cool when you see the onboard views. You see the reflections of the lights and off of the back bumper of some of the cars.
Now looking back at these cars, there's actually some of these that I can actually draw in the near future.
Yeah, that's for sure. If for those that are watching the stream, Dalton does some sketches and drawings. Make sure to go check those out. Those are really good. As now, Grissom, I can't tell which car's the 9 car of Grissom. I haven't seen that car very often so far this race, but he is apparently a lap down. Rick Mass is still off the track. I'm actually pretty surprised about Jeff Bodine being consistently in the top 5 so far this race, because usually Bodine towards the end of his career in the Cup Series he didn't run in the top 10 on a weekly basis like he did in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm also surprised by that as well because like he's basically been showing that he's got top 5 speed like all race long so far.
Dang, Dale Earnhardt's in 25th, so all that work he had to get back up in the top 16 after starting really far back, he's just not having a good race at all. In the last race we watched the other night in '85, Earnhardt won that race. Yeah, if you haven't yet, go check out that stream. There's some good racing going on in the '80s, but there's the onboard now of Wallace. Mike, were you able to find your reaction?
No, I forgot what episode it was, unfortunately.
It was like one of the first ones, I think.
Right, but I just forgot the number. But anyway, I remember I was like nice about it at least.
Now, I wonder if you would have the same reaction if Blaney was to turn Logano for the win.
Well, again, I remember it was an accident. So, yeah.
You know, it'd be a really bad situation if Kyle Busch was about to win a playoff race in the 8 car and gets spun out by Chastain. That would just be chaos on social media and throughout the NASCAR, world.
Is it bad to say that I can actually see that happening this year?
Well, I really can see that happening.
Imagine Denny Hamlin turns Kyle Busch though. Like the former teammates collide during the playoffs. That would be kind of interesting to see how that goes and if they would actually fight.
Knowing Kyle Busch, he probably I don't know. It'll depend on like I don't know what mood he's in, I guess,
Yeah. And we saw Larry McReynolds on the pit box. He was the crew chief of Mike Skinner at the time.
Dang, that's when he had hair back then?
Yeah, you gotta do my boy Larry like that. But Larry McReynolds in '98, he was the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt when he won the 500, as everyone should know. So far there has been a couple like run-ins. There hasn't been any like major like caution issues where it's just caution after caution, like we saw in the 2003 race reaction we did a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Is that the king? It's the GOAT! That's the GOAT, the king, Richard Petty. Yeah, he's there on top of the pit box, or near the pit box. And there's Tony Dorsett, a former football player, Dallas Cowboys that you see on the screen.
Charlie Taylor, he's a Redskin. Or he was a Redskin.
I wonder if they're there just to watch the race, or if they were like going to be part of the pit crew. Because the way they're lined up on the pit wall, they look like they're ready to hop up and assist the car.
Right?
Man, I'm telling you, Tony Stewart's running away with this thing right now. The Steelers versus the Browns. The Browns were really mid around then, I think.
They
So was
still
the
are.
Steelers. He said they still are.
I mean, he's got a point though.
Poor Browns fans. They have to endure with the losing every single year. Speaking of Browns, there's the fan with the Browns jersey. Oh, here's Fox looking at women, or not Fox, ESPN camera.
Oh.
Yeah, at least they look at women, the kids.
Yeah, the Fox camera people, they have a tendency to point at kids. But then again, I think it's just they're trying to get the kids be like, oh, we could go back and look and see that we were on the race later on. I don't think it's anything bad, but then
That,
again, people always twist it.
that's weird, though. You have to
I
admit,
get why people think it's weird. I do, honestly.
like they only film kids.
There's Chad. Why do you make it sound like that? Chad Little was in the
True, bro.
97. He's like, you make it seem like they film more kids than actual racing. That's what you made.
I mean,
But as you see, there's Dale Jarrett, Nile Knight. Skinner's kind of falling back a couple spots. I really like that Chad Little John Deere 97 scheme, as I mentioned earlier. Jimmy Spencer's back on the lead lap in 23. Earnhardt Jr. and Sr. running right in front of each other. Yeah, Marlin was struggling in 99. I know it's kind of random, but if y'all have watched and followed the 2002 season, what was your thoughts on that season? Because Sterling Marlin very well could have won a championship in 2002.
I don't really have that much of an opinion because I did not watch it.
Yeah, same. I didn't really watch it much. The only thing I did watch from 20, I mean, not 2020. Oh my gosh. 2002 was Kevin Harvick's bad seasons video from Black Lives Matter.
Ah. Well, Marlon had a pretty solid year in 2002. He won some races. He was just so consistent. It looked like he was going to run away from it, and then it all started to go downhill later on in the year. I mean, the fall 2002 Richmond race, he wrecked on lap 1 and got hurt a little bit. He was shaken up, and then he was struggling. And obviously, he was out for the season after his wreck at Kansas, and McMurray ended up taking over in the 40 car the rest of the year. But Marlin very well could have won the championship that year if he hadn't had those 2 wrecks and just the bad luck he had in those final 15 races maybe of that season. As we all know, Tony Stewart won the championship in 2002 over Mark Martin.
Which I bet my dad was happy about that because he's a huge Tony Stewart fan.
Why is he a Tony Stewart fan? Do you know?
That part, not for sure. All I know is that he was just a huge fan of him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I like Stewart.
I've had some family members that pulled for Tony Stewart back in the day a little bit. Mainly like one of my cousins, I think, pulled for Stewart, and the other one pulled for Jeff Gordon. Caleb and Josh, shout out. Mayfield's 3 laps down. Presley's about 50.
Stream is still good.
It's a long green flag run here. We've had some green flag runs going on for about 30 to 40 laps. Then either a tire issue or debris has caused the caution. And that's what it's really been. There hasn't been anything no major pileups or anyone dumping anybody. If you know, what I mean,
for now,
a lot of short track racing now.
A nice pass by Mark Martin.
Jeff Gordon's consistently in the top 3 in this race.
Stewart is just running away right now.
For real.
Yeah, he's checked out in a different zip code right now.
So I want to ask you real quick, Mike, since you were on the last race reaction and you watched the fairgrounds,
Yep.
what is some of your things that you like about this track more than you like the fairgrounds?
I, I don't know, because it's like I like the fairgrounds a lot, but I feel like this track looks more modern.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I like the lights, maybe. That's a nice touch.
Yeah. I like the exit of the corners better.
Yeah. But I like the guardrails a lot, though. It looked cool. And the forest behind it is we got the 7 car going to the garage.
Yeah. I think that is Michael Waltrip, if I'm correct.
Bruh.
Yes, you are correct. That is Michael Waltrip.
Whoa, that was close. But yeah, as I was saying, like, the exit of the corners at this Richmond I felt like was more exciting than obviously
I
the
agree.
fairgrounds. But then again, I kind of miss the guardrails as well. But I heard, especially towards the end, like I've read about some of the drivers' opinions on the fairgrounds. They were getting tired of the track, especially towards the end of it. They were getting tired of its layout. They're getting tired of the guardrail and just the amount of cautions and calamity it really was in the last couple of years of its history, and they were wanting a change. And it wasn't really them also, but some drivers wanted to change, some didn't. Um, and some other people were like, it's due time for a change. So that's when, after the '88 race, they started tearing up the track immediately after, and ended up coming up with the Richmond Raceway.
Right.
And it was a good track. Richmond Raceway has been a good track for a long time, but the last couple of years, it's definitely not been a fan favorite. That's for sure. It's not provided very well exciting action with the new cars. Man, Earnhardt and Earnhardt Jr. just can't seem to get anything going, and they're about to get lapped.
It's really rare to see Dale Earnhardt get lapped back then, especially like when he was like dominating back then.
Yeah, in the '90s, it was kind of rare. That's for sure. Now, Stewart's already led 154 laps. Is that what I just saw on the screen?
Yep, you're correct.
I did not pick it. Earnhardt, thank God.
It's Sean. Sean picked Dale Earnhardt to win the race a couple days ago, and he ended up getting that right.
Yep, he was right.
It's really cool to see like these rear view cameras that they had back then, like compared to what NASCAR is now and what it was back then for the rear cameras. It's like it hit the vibe is just different, if you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
definitely. Yeah, I like the back onboard camera there. You can see it. They can pan it to the right. The in car, obviously you could show the dash without having to blur stuff out. I think NASCAR just blurs out the whoa. I think NASCAR blurs out um the dash now just because they don't want people seeing some of the stuff that's on it. That's fine. Jimmy Spencer finished second in that 23 car at Bristol in that night race where Earnhardt spun Labonte out. Oh, we got a car on the wall. That's a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Probably a tire for Chad Little. It's their third caution of the
Oh,
race. It's a shame seeing such a beautiful car get torn up like that.
Yeah,
Man,
by the looks of it, like by the looks that you can see from like the left front, it looks like a tire.
yeah, we'll see on the replay if they have one. He
Dang, that
seems
is
to
hard
be all
hit.
right.
Like that was like the whole like front, the whole right front fender is like gone. Yeah, but he's frustrated.
Yeah, it looked like a tire. It looked like he'd already hit the wall there, and then he hit it again and slid.
Yeah, it's like it looks like he hit it the first time when it wasn't too bad, but then later on it just kind of like killed it, and then yeah,
you are correct.
just unfortunate.
Ooh, we'll see who gets off pit road first here. Mark Martin crew going to work. Jeff Gordon's crew. Oh, it's gonna be close. Gordon's gonna get off before Stewart. So Stewart lost some spots there on pit road, I think. Yeah. So Stewart, for the first time in a while, is not in the lead. It's gonna be interesting to see how this restart goes. And Dale
Also,
Senior beat Junior off pit road.
I have a really interesting question. Is it just me, or was this Richmond pit road like much more wider than the current Richmond today?
It looks like it. That's for sure.
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it does not look that wide today. Like not from what unless if whenever they race at Richmond, whenever that will be. I gotta take a look at that.
So I think we'll be going back green in a couple laps as Stewart's now in third, Gordon's in first, Mark Martin's second, Labonte's fourth, and Bonat's fifth. So not much changes really in the top five. Same cars coming in and coming out of pit road, but definitely did shift a few. So I guess now I was going to ask, how many more cautions do you think there will be in the race? We've had 3 so far.
I'm gonna say like 4 or 5.
I'm gonna say. All right, I'm gonna go with an interesting take, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be a wreck fest. So I'm gonna say like maybe like 8.
Oh boy. All right. Well, both of those not I mean, both of those are sort of like I'm not surprised because we're about halfway through the race and there's been 3 cautions. We've seen tire issues. So there is a possibility of more tires going down if there's long green flag runs. The racing has been pretty clean, so I don't see anyone take anyone out. So we'll see how it goes. Back green here. Jeff
You're
Gordon.
ahead.
Yeah, I must be ahead a little bit.
Way ahead, bro.
Where are you at? Did they just take the green?
Yeah, I'm at 59 and 57.
All right, I'm back where you are now.
And I'm not too far behind either. Like I'm around like 59:43 around there.
Well, you need to move up, Dalton, because I'm at the same spot Mike is, and we're ahead of you by like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it keeps buffering on me. I'm trying to fix it.
It happens. I've actually had some buffering moments too tonight. As you see, Stewart's still trying to get by Mark Barn here, and he looks like he will. That was a good move by the number 20. Man, you just tell Stewart has the fastest car right now, but Gordon's in the lead at the moment. Spencer's up to 11th. He was so far back earlier. He was a lap down, I think, and Spencer's now in 11th, so that's pretty impressive. Rusty Wallace is now battling for 5th, I think, here with Jeff Bodine.
It just seems like even with Tony Stewart being in like dirty air, it seems like he still has speed inside the car.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm looking at some of the college football scores on the bottom of the screen. It's a lot of blowouts.
For real.
Bobby Labonte getting underneath Mark Martin here for looks like 3rd. He may get it, but Mark's not letting up easily at all. Pontiac's been dominating this race.
Okay, hear me out on this. Pontiac and NASCAR. Dang it. Pontiac and Dodge make a comeback to NASCAR, even though I know Pontiac is out of like business and stuff.
We all wish they were back.
Wish Dodge came back.
Yeah, if you dang it, it's the second time I did that. Yeah.
You're good.
What I was gonna say was like if it's okay for me to self promo.
Go ahead.
Like if y'all for those that are watching right now, if you haven't checked out my Instagram and like seen my my Dodge Challenger concept scheme of the Doritos the sweet spicy chili car, please go check it out. It is I could not have been any more happier with that.
Yeah, he has some good drawings.
I know my mom talks. This is gonna be interesting. My mom, she actually she follows Dalton, so she like sees all the drawings and she's like, Dalton does a great job, and she like literally tells me like, oh, I saw Dalton's new post today. I'm like, oh. You see, Kenny Wallace is now back in 11th. He kind of fell back a little bit. Earnhardt Jr. have gained somewhat spots, but they haven't been moving up pretty quickly at all. Oh, here we go. Stewart's catching Gordon.
And look at that. Another pass.
Just like that, Gordon relinquishes the lead to Tony Stewart again. And Darrell Waltrip says he's only 2 laps down, but it seems like he's been lapped like 5 times in this race. And Stewart's rookie year was really good his rookie year, and he also was pretty solid in 2000 as well. I like those grandstand shots. I know Sean kind of mentioned this on the last race reaction we did. The grandstand shot of a camera guy in the stands panning from left to right down the front. I wish they brought that back. But obviously with the equipment and how much equipment costs now they don't want to risk anything, I think, and they just don't do it anymore.
Makes sense.
So we're coming up on halfway. The laps seem to be ticking off pretty quickly under green, but under yellow it seems to be pretty slow. As we are halfway through the race, oh, we're halfway there, living on a prayer. You know what I mean? We like to say that during NSCS races as well. Marlin's actually up to 11th, so Marlin's been making some gains.
I'm not gonna lie, Sterling Marlin's car. Which one was it? It was one of the beer cars. I can't remember which one it was.
Coors.
Yeah, Coors Light. That it may have been a basic scheme because it's like 3 colors used on it, like white, light gray, and red. But it's still really good back then.
Yeah, it's very flashy, and it's very noticeable as well. So apparently Rick Mass may be back on the track, and Labonte is out of the race in last. So that definitely hurt Labonte in points, being last there and having that tire go out. Good battle here between Hamilton and Dale Jarrett. Yeah, Musgrave seems to have lost a lot of ground. Petty and Earnhardt Jr. about to get lapped. I didn't even realize Bill Elliott was a lap down until now. I was going to ask Dalton, what are some of your predictions for Richmond this upcoming weekend?
Well, I mean, with the last couple of times that the NASCAR has raced there, like in the Cup Series, it's been kind of like a snooze fest ish. But like near the end, though, we saw some like really good strategy like come into play. So I feel like it's going to come down to who has the better pit stop and who has the better car in the long run for those that have like short run speeds. That's what I'm really looking for.
Gotcha. That's something that I'm looking forward to as well. I like strategy races. I like not a lot of wrecks towards the end of the race where they just keep going into overtime. I'm someone that wants to see it go out, like the finish be decided between the best cars and the best teams, with the strategies that they have made throughout the race. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Last year we saw Harvick win, I think, one of the races, and Hamlin won the other. So I could see Hamlin winning it again just because of he's really good at Richmond. Is basically his hometown track. Harvick, I think, has a chance. Another driver I'm thinking of also that could have a chance to win this race is Christopher Bell in the 20 car.
Yeah,
Bell's
I
been
was
really
thinking of that.
consistent.
I was thinking of that too.
Yeah. Ross Chastain, he's been pretty decently on the short tracks, but he just doesn't seem to have that car that is fast enough on the short tracks to win.
The Hail Melon would like to enter the chat on that one.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Alex Bowman won at Richmond in 2020, so don't count him out either. William Byron's pretty strong there as well. So, what about you, Mike? As you probably described on the podcast. Oh yeah, a car's around. Let's board Burton.
Dang, Burton is just not having a good night tonight
At all.
Yeah, I think that the new package is gonna help the track get a little better, and I picked Joey Logano to win the race.
We'll see in the replay if he hit the wall. Looked like he kind of did. Maybe with the left front.
I think he did.
Yeah, he might have.
The roof flaps are up. Huh.
Yeah, he definitely spun around, that's for sure. I just don't know if he like hit the wall or something.
Jeff Bodon's still in the top 10. We got a caution.
Put it out.
He just lost it off of 4. Huh.
No wall contact though, surprisingly.
Yeah, he just spun out in the front stretch right in front of the leaders, Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. Now we got pit stops once more. So not long after pitting, they are back in pit road.
Yeah, just it seems like tires are like really important here at Richmond, especially like back then when it was like paved.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Stewart lost a lot of spots on pit road again.
Dang.
He lost like 5 spots or 6.
Whoa, almost contact right back there between who was that? Ricky Rudd and someone.
It looked like Kenny Irwin Jr. was in the 28 there, almost hit Musgrave. Mike Skinner lost a lot of spots on pit road also.
Whoa, did Jeff Gordon get the wall? Oh no, he didn't. Okay. All right. I just looked like from that angle. I thought he got the wall from watching the replay of Burton's spin.
There's Ray Evernham. Still trying to get the field sorted out for the restart. So it looks like Gordon's in the lead again. There's Mark Martin second, Labonte third, Stewart fourth, but Burton fifth, Wallace sixth, Jarrett seventh on this restart.
Hey,
Bobby
as long
Hunt's
as my
late.
as long as my pick doesn't wreck, then I'm good.
And we're back green.
Oh, Mayfield spun the tires there.
Big move on the inside by the 32 car. We haven't seen him much today. Mayfield's trying desperately to get a lap back here in the 12 car.
He's not going down without a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's been really trying. He just hasn't had, like, the couple of the restarts to start further on back. He wasn't able to really battle for his lap back, but now he has a chance to with Jeff Gordon. Who will come on top, the Pegasus car or the Rainbow Warrior? Wow, Dale Earnhardt's actually up to 11. He gained some spots on pit road. So Earnhardt's now has a chance to crack the top 10 for the first time. Jeff Bodine's in 20th. He must have had a really slow stop. There's Dawn's pick, Rusty Wallace running there behind Burton and Stewart on the track.
Another thing I really like about Richmond is that it's really challenging to pass.
It definitely is, especially in the outside lane. Back there,
Exactly.
It's really hard to pass.
And not to mention, like, you're wearing out your tires even more going on the outside trying to complete the pass.
That's for sure. Side by side, M&M's in the Miller Lite car. Whoa. Like, just peeking, that's all. Just peeking there. Just putting my nose up to your rear bumper. As, man, Gordon, other than Stewart, Gordon seems to be the fastest car in this race, and he's been leading a good bit. Gordon was really strong at Richmond and other short tracks in the 90s. You know, Gordon was pretty much solid everywhere, but Gordon won at Wilkesboro, I think one race. He won at Bristol a couple times. Um, Richmond, I think he won at Richmond a couple of times also in his career. What's that noise in the background, Mike?
I'm not making any noise.
It just sounds like
I'm
there's
not
just a
either.
bunch of bubbles. I don't know. It just sounds like some bubble noise.
Oh, man.
Stewart's now on the back bumper almost to Labonte. Just the first time I think we've seen Stewart outside of the top four. Boom, boom, boom. Great shot there. Great camera shot.
Dang, Jeff Burton with the fastest lap that lap.
Yeah. Jeff Burton won a couple times in the 90s. One of those was at Darlington. No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure one of those was at Darlington. He won one of those. Oh, there goes Labonte by Mark Martin for second. And here comes Stewart, too. Stewart was like, I'm just going to fall right by you as Mark Martin went really high in turn 1 and 2.
And Jeff Burton's still like right there too. It looks like he's gonna get it. Well, maybe not. Yeah, he's gonna get it.
Easy pass.
Michael Waltrip's back on the track. Oh, we got a replay here. It's Jimmy Spencer and Jr. And, Mike Wallace in the 32. Looks like Jr. just gave him a good old bump.
That's the Richmond bump and run for you.
Yeah, Junior won at Richmond, I think, in 04. But I may be wrong on that. So don't quote me on it. Like, did Jeff Burton just pass Tony Stewart? Huh. Didn't see that coming, considering how well Stewart has run so far in this race. As we got battle for lead here with Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Have y'all ever seen the Labonte versus Gordon duel at Martinsville in Atlanta in 2003?
Definitely have.
I think I saw a highlight of it, but I don't think I saw like the whole thing.
Yeah, those two races in 2003, they had some really good battles in those races. With Labonte, I think Labonte came on top, won both of them. But I may be wrong. I think Gordon could have maybe won Martinsville. I know Labonte definitely won the Atlanta race because I actually got a book from one of my uncles of Atlanta. It was just a Atlanta history book, and it had the picture of Labonte and Gordon on the cover, and Jeff Gordon signed it. Man, still side by side here for the lead, and it's allowed Stewart and Burton to close a little bit. For those watching the stream right now, make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the race and about the stream. I'd really appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe on the road to 1K subscribers. And make sure to go follow Mike and Dawn. Their links are in the description. They're in the description below. That's what I was trying to say. As we are now about 3/4, no, not quite 3/4 through the race, but getting there.
I really like that in-car shot on Bobby Labonte's car when it was like showing the part of the inside of the car while side by side with Jeff Gordon. That was really cool.
What's some drivers that have impressed y'all so far in this race?
Tony Stewart.
Yeah, I have to agree on that because he is just did nothing. He has done nothing but dominate this race.
True
Looking
that.
like probably 4 wide in a minute.
I'd
Oh
say,
boy.
whoa, yeah, this is getting interesting. As I was gonna say, I think one would definitely be Mark Martin, considering how far he started back, and he also got involved in that little incident early on with Ward Burton. And despite the damage, he's up there in the top four.
Yeah. Well, Tony Stewart was in his rookie season at this time,
Yeah,
and he's racing really hard with all these veterans. So that's what's really impressing me. And I don't want to see these random pit crews. I want to see the racing. Oh, yellow?
oh,
Oh,
we must have had another yellow here as they're on pit road, and yet again
Tony,
Stewart losing spots on pit road again.
he didn't lose that much ground, it seemed like, compared to the other spots.
Jamie Spencer lost some spots on pit road because he's trying to get a good run underneath Gordon, but Gordon's been holding that middle lane very well.
looks like Labonte was going to try to make it 3 wide there, decided to back out, which is a smart move.
I think Martin's trying to use the middle lane, but Gordon is running it so well that he's basically forced on that inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does look like that. Yeah.
This is where you're starting to see the Richmond come into play, like the nowadays Richmond, where the bottom lane wasn't as effective as it was. Like we watched the '85 one, and did you just see the difference instantly with the primary?
Dale Jarrett off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like he got knocked up high or whatever. That or
he might have even hit the wall.
I was about to say he might have an issue or something because he was like, if you saw the in-car camera, he was like moving the wheel back and forth. Yeah.
Stewart's now trying to get underneath.
Here comes Bobby.
Stewart's been one of the only cars I've seen this entire race that's been able to stick to the bottom and actually make passes by people.
It just seems like Tony Stewart's car just like it just fires off. It's like completely in a different zip code.
Like it wakes up. Yeah.
It like wakes up from the dead after a few laps.
Right. I noticed that too.
It's a really good long run car.
Not just really good, a very good long run car.
Burton's now trying to get Bob Bonnie, clear him for third, and he does. Looks like we have another replay coming up of the Dale Jarrett incident.
Let's see what happened here. Oh, he got intimidated by the Intimidator.
He got bumped by Dale.
Yeah.
Intimidated by the Intimidator.
Yeah. Mike finally got it.
Yeah. That was Dale on Dale crime. Steve Parks in 6th after being mid-pack most of the race. Earnhardt's now in 8th. Wallace 7th. Kenny Irwin Jr.'s back in 10th. Skinner's still 12th. Skinner has not done that. Hasn't done much since the beginning of this race. Spencer now is on the edge of getting lapped. Ooh, Jeff Burton. Jeff versus Jeff for second.
Seems like Jeff Gordon has like a really good short run car for a few laps, and then it just it's still like somewhat fades, but it's still like consistent in the top 5.
For real,
yeah.
Oh, Labonte got loose a little bit there.
Man, that's a good side angle in-car camera. I wish they still showed those nowadays, but they don't.
They kind of do, but it's not as good as this one.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say they somewhat show it today, just not as good as back then.
Not as developed as this one.
Right. Yeah.
And these two have been side by side for like 5 laps now.
All that's doing is just letting Tony Stewart pull away even more.
For real. Stewart has had the lead over half the race so far, at least.
Kind of reminds me of who was it? Chandler Smith that dominated the truck race last year.
Yeah.
Also reminds me of Richard Petty, at Richmond. I know it's like a stretch, but like Richard Petty at Richmond in the 70s, there was some of those races he led like well over half the race and won by a big margin.
I find it stupid how the trucks are going to race at Texas this weekend, but the rest of the cars are racing at Richmond. But the trucks are going to Richmond at some point in the season.
Yeah, it is kind of odd, that's for sure. But I think they wanted to do something a little bit different because there's a couple times like the Cup Series was at one track and then the Xfinity was at like Gateway or whatever. We see
Yeah, I know, but it's just so stupid when they're going to go there later in the season anyway. Why not just get it out of the way now?
I think it's because they just wanted to have that playoff thing. I think the first race of playoffs for the Truck Series is at Richmond, but I may be wrong.
I don't know. That's weird. That's just me, though. I picked Stuart Friesen for that.
Stewart's led 207 laps. You see the average speed's 101 miles per hour. The average speed for the average speed for the Fairgrounds race in '85 was like 69.
Yeah,
nice.
Nice. And Stewart, 207 laps led so far.
Dang, Jared's not going away from Mike Skinner. Oh, wait, who's that in the back as well?
Bobby Hamilton's behind them in the Ford, and there's the 43 of Andretti.
Yeah, they've been having a good battle back there as well behind these two.
Mark Martin, the GOAT.
I find it really impressive that Mark Martin has been able to still stick around even though he still has like the damage from earlier today or from earlier in the race.
He did lose a couple spots recently. He's down to 7th, but he has been up to 2nd at points. Well, Dalton said is it going to be a wreck fest. Hasn't been many wrecks recently, actually.
Yeah.
But that could change. You still got a little ways to go.
Yeah, I was about to say, watch as the caution comes out right now. As soon as you say that.
Also, Dalton, while he's leading in his CS race, caution.
Okay. I mean, you got a point there, but still.
The good old caution. Prank him, John. As Ricky Rudd's about to go lap down here. Rudd's just had a pretty awful race. He started back in like 30 or so. He just hasn't had the handling and hasn't been able to really move up front much. He got up to 11th at one point, but just hasn't had the speed. That you could just tell. As Gordon about nailed him there. You just tell like Rudd is so much slower than Gordon and some of the other guys. That was close. Gosh, look at that. The laps led Ford 1, Chevrolet 59, and Pontiac 222.
And most of that was Stewart.
Yeah.
A little bit of Labonte.
A lot of the fans are just walking there on the bottom there near the fence. I've been noticing there's a lot of them just walking up and down it. The security hasn't been stopping them from getting close to the fence and walking around. Nowadays, security is more advanced.
Let him walk on the fence.
Well, nah. Well, you know Dickie Dennis, the guy who climbed the fence at Richmond in 2014.
No, don't climb the fence. I didn't say that. I just said they can go to the fence if they want to.
The fence climber Dickie. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he tunes into the shows that we have on Monday nights, Racing Root shows, with David Ham, who runs that show. I help out with it every once in a while. Part of it, basically, Dickie's one of the viewers on the show about every single show, and sometimes we will mention him during the shows. He's a really nice guy, and he's very, very enthusiastic about NASCAR.
So why did he climb the fence?
You'd have to ask him, and listen
But
to
you
the
all have
story.
never asked him.
I'm not gonna say why, but
Why?
it's just
Just say why.
to promote the story and the videos behind it. Okay,
He
I want
was
y'all to go
drunk
check it
off
out.
his behind. That's why.
But anyways, he's not allowed to go to Richmond. I think he got like a permanent ban for like most of the racetracks around the area. I think he got banned from a good bit of them up in Virginia. Maybe a couple. I think Martinsville was another one. I don't know if he's permanently banned at like every single track, but he said that if he goes within like a certain distance of the track, he'll get arrested.
Okay. I get banning him for a little bit, but banning him from like every racetrack just because he climbed the fence. It's not like he climbed the fence. Excuse me for sounding graphic here. It's not like he climbed the fence, jumped over the racetrack, and streaked across the track naked.
Oh boy.
I mean, for real though, why ban him?
Oh man.
Cool.
I didn't notice this Ken Schrader scheme, that 33 one. I never noticed it. I didn't even see him most of this entire race. What do you think about it? It's kind of weird colored.
I think it looks kind of cool. I thought it was something to do with Harry Gann. I didn't realize it was Ken Schrader.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like kind of looks like a bronze color ish.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a bronze color, except like maybe somewhat mixed with gold a little to get that unique color to it. Like it's basically like a color that you wouldn't see on a regular basis, which is kind of ironic.
Gotcha. Wow, Dale Earnhardt's in 6th now. I didn't even realize that.
Dang.
Earnhardt's moving up. Martin's falling back. Wallace has fallen back, and Marlin's now in front of them. So that's interesting. Dale Jarrett's lost some spots. Huh. Kyle Petty surprisingly on the lead lap here. I didn't think he was still on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace also in the 19th position. 100 laps to go. Yeah, there's Kenny Wallace going to lap down to Stewart. So, yeah. So we now are 3/4 through the race, 100 to go. What do y'all think about the race so far up to this point? Do you think it's better than the 85 race, Mike?
Absolutely better than the 85 race. Great racing all around. There's been a dominant car, yes, but there's been other players in this race. Gordon, Labonte, Mayfield. The 85 race had only like maybe 2 or 3 players.
Well, the 85 race had, they had Tim. Junior spin.
Oh, there goes. Ooh, hard hit into the outside wall.
Oh, wow.
Spencer was having
that's a lot of damage.
Race until that. Yikes.
Oof.
Yeah, as I was saying, the 85 race had Tim Richmond, Darrell Waltrip, Bonnet, Allison, Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine. There was a good couple of them.
Well, there's the caution.
Yeah, this is caution number 5 or 6, I think, of the race.
Look at all the people running there.
Yeah. Can I see what's going on here? Well, why is he getting taken so long to get out of the car?
Like, is he dead? Is he dead?
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god, that sounded really okay. That sounded bad from my part. Oh man.
I think he thought of trying out the cancel challenge tonight on on YouTube. As we see Jeff Gordon pitting. Let's see if he gets off first. He's been getting off first every single stop the last like 3 or 4. The Rainbow Warriors pit crew, and Stewart got off first.
Oh, Stewart got up this time.
Stewart.
Maybe he took 2 tires.
Yeah, kind of like maybe like flipping the strategy or something.
And Earnhardt lost spots again up here. Mark Martin lost spots. Interesting. But we did not see Spencer confront Dale Jr. But one thing that's kind of interesting, I really like the Dale Jr. download episode where they had Spencer on it. That was a great episode. Great interview there with Jimmy Spencer, and Spencer talked a lot about his career and him and some of his on track and off track altercations with other drivers. But Spencer and also talked about his struggles of being in the Cup Series. Earnhardt just shallowed up the track there. It didn't look intentional.
Wait, now okay, that actually reminds me. Is it just me, or did that almost remind me or did that almost look like Alex Bowman dumping Denny Hamlin at Martinsville in the 2021 playoff race?
It sort of did. And it also sort of looked like Kyle Busch and Jr. in 08 at Richmond, except for Kyle Busch's one looked more intentional.
Yeah.
Me looking underneath the bed at 1 o'clock at night to see there's under there. Yeah, you're good to go. Well, now they're having a hard time getting the car going. Oh boy. Well, let's see if he gets lapped or not. He's really slow.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like.
Yeah, Ward passed him.
I don't know if that car doesn't look like it's under power.
No, it doesn't. Wanted to go signal. And Gordon needs to get going because they're coming up on the restart.
Yeah.
Finishes 30th or worse. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that stat line there. Only 2 finishes 30 worse than 98. Obviously, his best season in his career. Only 6 though, and 99 up to this point.
Yeah, something still doesn't look right for the 24. As now we're back green.
Yeah. Stewart jumping out to another lead and another big advantage here on this restart as always. Yeah, Gordon's he's gonna have to come back down pit road. He's gonna lose the laps.
It seems like when Tony Stewart's in clean air, that was tight there for a second, but seems like when they get in clean air, it looks like Tony Stewart's car just like fires off and it just like stays that way. But when he's like in traffic, it takes a few laps for it to actually wake up and like be a monster, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Dale Jarrett's now in 4th, and I think Wallace is in 5th.
That's a cool shot.
Yeah, it is. And they were doing really good in this race too, and he's having to go behind the wall. Let's see if Burton can actually catch Stewart. He actually has a good run on him here.
Oh, he did get a good run in that corner. It just seemed. I think Tony just has like the better corner exit though.
Yeah, like a much better exit.
Like it seems like Burton can gain on him on entry, but like on exit, Tony has like the best advantage out of everybody.
Yeah. Burton has a really good corner entry. He just doesn't have the middle ground speed to get by Stewart, who's pretty much middle lane the entire track.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
And what a good rebound!
Jarrett.
What a rebound for Jarrett! Like after what happened earlier, like the
Yeah, he
bump
was
and run when he got bumped up the track and like lost a lot of ground. Good rebound for
definitely,
him.
definitely, he's really far back. What do you think about Dale Earnhardt? Even though he's not been in the top 5 and shown on camera much, he's still in the top 10 somehow.
And
Yeah.
Burton's still closing in though. He's not going away.
And Jeff Gordon's surrounded by the media. Obviously, Jeff Gordon was probably, if other than Earnhardt and Bill Elliott, he was the most popular driver probably at the time.
I could see that, yeah.
There's Labonte and Jarrett, but then Wallace, and other big names. But Gordon was definitely probably one of the most famous ones. Wow,
Whoa, that was tight.
Yeah.
Oh, is he gonna split the middle here? Oh, he is. Oh, somewhat.
Yeah, you just tell Earnhardt's not as fast as Martin. Oh, man, they cut away at the worst possible time there. It looked like
yeah, for real. Oh, they're about to go 3 wide here. What is that? Kenny Irwin and
Mike Wallace. Ted Musgrave in the 75.
Sometimes 3 wide racing can work, and then sometimes it can't work at Richmond.
Yeah. I didn't realize Jeremy Mayfield was 3 laps down, but then I remembered that he had that flat tire early in the race, and I put him a couple laps down, but he's still been pretty solidly fast.
Yeah, if he didn't have that tire go down, I would say he would still be like running around top 10, top 15.
For sure, yeah.
Which that's a shame too, because he had a really good he had a really good scheme back then.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, cameraman, just show a shot of people's butts. Okay, like for real, like why?
Looks like Bobby Labonte got past Burton for second. It seems like
That does look like the case. And Stewart's just checked out by like 3 seconds. Kind of reminds me of
today.
Of what?
Today.
No, I was gonna say it reminds me of Jimmy Johnson in some races during the 2000s, late 2000s. There were some races where he just like really pulled away after restarts.
Yeah.
Bing bong. I can't tell. It looks like Polaris was one of the sponsors for Ted Musgrave. Couldn't catch all of them. Last Pontiac first and second finish was Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty at Wilkesboro in '93. Wow, so they went that long without a Pontiac 1-2. That's pretty crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
Years. You know that one meme? That's crazy, but I don't remember asking. But for this one, we did ask because it was a good statistic. As Earnhardt moved back by Mark Martin. Now there's Junior. I haven't seen him in a while. Mike Skinner, he did lead it a little bit early in the race. He was on the pole, but his car doesn't seem to have been the same as it was early in the race. Yeah, as you all can see there at the bottom. Jeff Gordon's now falling to 36th as he's in the garage.
Oh, looks like Jarrett might get Burton here for third.
Yeah, he's gaining on him, that's for sure.
Hey, my pick is in the top 5. Let's go. Finally.
He's had an up and down race. There's some parts where he's in top 15, then back in top 10, then lower again, then back in the top 5. He's been up and down.
And just like that, Jarrett passes Burton for third. Almost at second. Hello, Rick Allen.
Yeah, you could just see there on the speeds at the line. Like Stewart is considerably faster than everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely by like 0.5 of a second faster.
Then Bobby Labonte, who's in second. See this time around.
Oh, we got
car.
someone smoking. Smoking is not good. That's very bad.
It's Kenny Wallace, I believe.
Looks like it's from that angle. Looks like it's the right front.
I think the 30 car. I know Kenny's the 55, so I'm trying to remember who the 30 car was. Wow, he got loose. We'll see it on the leaderboard. Bing bong. Michael Walters back on the track. He went into the garage early in the race. Looked like a mechanical issue.
I will say Steve Park has been having a pretty good race so far. Like he's stayed in the top 15, top 10, top 15 around there.
Todd Bodine's in the 30 car. One thing that's I found interesting in this race, there's multiple different Bodines. There's Brett Bodine's in this race, Todd Bodine's in this race, and Jeff Bodine's in this race.
Oh, let's see. Ooh. Who did he get into? That looked like the 9 car, it looked like, I think.
Yeah. Strategy. We'll see if pit strategy comes into play here at the end if they stay green.
There's Tony Stewart again, passing, who is that? Bill Elliott, I think?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, Labonte threaded the needle right there between lap cars.
Yeah, yep. He's doing what he has to do to try to stay with his teammate. Well, third place is really far back. Can't even see third place at the moment.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of like a 2-car battle for the lead at the moment.
He's actually gained on him some because of the lap traffic.
Yeah, and like with how hard it is to get past lap traffic here, and like it basically like depends on like what spot you get them in. Like if it's on the backstretch, then it might be easy to pass depending on how fast they're going. But if it's like in a corner, then you're gonna have a hard time passing them.
Yep. Earnhardt got back by Martin, but now Bobby Hamilton wanted to join the battle. Considering Earnhardt hasn't had the fastest car all race, it seems like his car's been more improved on the long run. Seems like his car's gone faster in the long run, and he's been able to maintain his spot, but not really pass many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Marlin's in 5th in the 40 car. Much needed run for him. He'd been struggling up to this point in the season. Musgrave's back in 10th. Park's falling back down the 15th again. As Darrell Waltrip's about going another lap down. As you see, the interval has closed between the top two. We'll see if this becomes a close one. Also, if y'all are still tuned into the stream, let me know in the comments what other races you want us to react to. Be interested in seeing your suggestions. Also, make sure to like and subscribe as well. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much for tuning in. As there's Kenny Irwin Jr. going underneath the 75 of Ted Musgrave. Ted Musgrave drove in the Truck Series for a long time in his career. Made some starts in the Cup Series in the 90s and early 2000s. Man, Steve Park's about to go down.
Whoa, who was that got loose? That was
Kenny Wallace.
That was Kenny Wallace. Wow. Like, do you see how sideways his car got off of that corner right there?
Yeah, he's had a poor handling car the last about 100 laps or so.
And Steve got loose on that corner too.
I met Steve Park in December at an event in Mooresville, and I remember I showed him a picture of them in Victory Lane at Rockingham in 2001, and he signed that picture. But that was the race.
That is awesome.
That was the race after Dale Earnhardt had passed away, and the next race was at Rockingham. And DI went out there and got the win.
He did it for Dale.
Yeah.
And speaking of Dale, we got Dale and Rusty battling for position right here, along with oh, and he's gonna make it stick.
Yeah. So
and Wallace is gonna
come alive here.
I think Wallace starting to fall. Already lost 2, and now he's in risk of losing a 3rd spot right here.
Bless you. Blesseth thou.
That's a new one. I haven't heard of that one before.
Oh, I like to say it every once in a while. I'll be like, blesseth thou. I'll say it at work, and it just confuses everybody. It's so funny. Dale Jr.'s about to go a lap down. Women. She looks like she's cold. For some reason.
Jeff Burton's wife.
I don't know if that is or not. That could be Tony Stewart's girlfriend at the time. I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense if it was. But the reason
Martin's smoking
because Kim Burton is notorious for squirming.
Mark Martin, his engine's finally maybe letting go here.
Yeah, that looks like an engine. Yeah, because that's coming from underneath the car. It's not. I don't see it from the. Yeah, that's definitely an engine.
Man, he was running pretty solidly. He's second in points at the moment in the standings, and now his chance of gaining points on Jarrett is not helping right now. He's the race possibly done. They're trying to address the problem. Nowadays, NASCAR officials are like, you didn't park in the pit box. There's too many men over the wall. Cancel. Penalty. Suspension.
Yeah, I was about to say suspension for the whole season.
For the whole team, the crew chief.
Yeah, get yourself a new team of newbies.
Your crew chief gets suspended for too many men over the wall. Oh, he's back going again. No, it looks like he's about to cut into garage. Look at all these people in the middle.
Jeez.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Move.
Yo!
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't realize he was coming, but good grief. I didn't expect Dalton to do that go there. That's oh the crew member moved the fish out of the way. Did you see that? Just kind of
Yeah, I
grabbed
did.
him. Nowadays, if someone did that, they would get canceled, and they probably get like penalties and all sorts of stuff for touching official.
Yeah. I first thought they were going to say touching a woman, but I was about to say.
What? Where did that come from?
I don't know, man.
Because we're closing in the final laps here. I think there's like 30 or so to go. Mike Skinner's about to go lap now. Bobby Hamilton's passing Jeff Burton here, and so is Kenny Irwin Jr. Something's going on with Burton. It seems his car is falling off the pace. At the end of the race, we'll do our post race thoughts and give a race rating, and we'll also look at the results and statistics. So make sure y'all tune into that at the very end. It's been a pretty good race. Definitely flown by. Um, usually, like some of the race reactions I've done, where any sort of length, sometimes they just fly by. I think it's just whenever you have multiple people watching it with you, it goes by faster because you're talking about many different topics and you're watching it live together. Doing it by yourself, it just goes by slower. And
yeah.
yeah,
For sure, yeah.
less things to, I guess, talk about.
Dang, this battle's getting really tight right here.
Yeah, it looked like he was about to move him a little bit.
I thought he was going to dump him.
Well, if he did, then that would definitely make things interesting here to close for the final restart.
Oh, is he going to cross him over? Oh, dang. Classic ESPN moment by cutting off at the wrong time when he was about to possibly make a crossover move.
Fox be like.
Yeah, that is so true.
As Marlon's here trying to get by these lap cars.
Whoa, he got loose right there.
He got looser than Nick on super speedways and road courses. He cannot buy a break on road courses at all.
that is facts, though.
Oh, Labonte's caught Stewart.
Yeah, I was about to say Labonte's closed the gap big time.
Once more, the traffic can be a factor here.
Every Stewart fan's network.
ESPN. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, we got a lot of lap traffic in front. This could be a chance for Labonte to catch up. Oh, and especially if they're double foul too.
I thought that 25 car was Stewart at first, but it was actually Wally Dallenbach. Oh, really loose there. Bless it, thou.
Oh, thank you.
If Labonte has any chance of catching him, it's right now because of how much lap traffic Stewart is battling with right now.
Yeah, it's still close. I mean, Labonte could still get by here if Stewart just keeps getting held up.
I bet you Stewart is screaming on the radio to get these guys out of the way.
Busch, tomorrow, Kurt Busch would be saying F-bombs at their bombs. Oh, sleeping guys in the way, move!
That's how I would be like if I was racing for the win and then all of a sudden lap traffic gets in the way of things.
Oh, yeah, same.
As we got 14 coming up, 13 laps to go.
And Labonte
here battling for the win.
And Labonte's there. It's just even in lap traffic though, it seems like Stewart has like the better car.
Whoa, that was close. Jeff Burton is we talked about. He's definitely fallen off. His car has fallen off a cliff. He is struggling out there. He's now going a lap down. He was in the top 10.
What a shame.
Oh, what a shame. I forgot what this song is, but I don't want to get copyrighted. I've actually heard that you could get copyrighted for humming songs now. So
Wait, for real?
yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yep. Kenny Irwin's in 8th, I think, is what I just saw on the leaderboard. Hamilton 9th. Jeff Burton's about to go lap down in 10th.
And Rusty Wall was 12th. Wow.
Yeah, he fell off too. His car's falling off a cliff. Brookie Nobles wins the first seasons. Yep. Ron Bouchard's one was at Talladega in 81. It was his only career win. Ten more laps, Stuart. Can he hang on?
His first career win.
It would be if he was to win this, yes.
Dang. Well, Bonnie threaded the needle again right there. Now you got to wonder if Bonnie used up all of his stuff trying to catch up to Stewart, and now he's like falling off.
Maybe. Sterling Marlin's in 4th now. Earnhardt's in 5th. So Earnhardt, despite all of his struggles, is going to get a top 5 out of this more likely. I think Kenny Irwin Jr. is a career high 6th at the moment. We saw a lot of cars stay on the lead lap for most of the race up until the end. Yeah, that must be his girlfriend or something at the time because he keeps showing.
I think so.
That is, yeah. Never mind. I don't know why I thought it was Kim Burton, but all right.
Oh my God. There's Earnhardt again by Kenny Irwin for 6th, I think.
Yes. No. Not 5th.
Ward Burton's back on the track.
Steve Park having a solid day, just basically hanging around in the top 20.
That's literally what John Broussard says every time. Oh, solid day in the top 20. Solid day. Saw great run at 15th. Yeah, minus 12 laps. Don't take any offense to that, John, but yeah. 5 to go. Jared's 7 seconds behind in 3rd. Marlin's 17 seconds behind in 4th. Wow. 8 cars on the lead lap. Looks like Musgrave's right in front of Stewart.
And still got like a pretty good amount of lap traffic ahead, but I don't think it's going to affect him too much.
Yeah, I don't see anyone else catching him. I mean, it's been a long green flag run, so this could be pretty much sealed. And they didn't have green white checkers back then either, so if a caution came out, they would just end on their caution.
Sometimes I like that, but at the same time I don't, because it's just like it depends on like which track they're at.
I like it for short tracks.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I think they should just end it under yellow.
Coda last week.
Dude, that was getting annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was so lame.
Because I was busy, right? But at the same time, I also had the race on the computer, so I could check it every once in a while I was busy. And bruh, it was literally like that was the final lap. Yeah, it was just so annoying that David would be like, I was telling people, oh yeah, the race will be over in a few minutes. Oh no, they're still going. It was like 40 minutes later. No, we got another restart. As Stewart's going to get his first career win in the Winston Cup Series.
Wow.
Dominant performance.
What a race.
Bobby Labonte got second there. We'll look at the results in a few, but I guess now we could talk about some of our observations in the race and our thoughts and what we would rate out of 10. First, Dalton, what about you?
So like watching the race like back then compared to or watching the racing back then compared to what we have now like this year, it's definitely it's not the greatest in the world, but overall like I would say it was still pretty good in my opinion.
I thought it was better than the 85 race. It was a lot of solid racing. I liked how the first half of the race there was a lot of battling, but toward the second half, it started getting a little bit boring. But I give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed this race.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say like maybe 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's better than the 85 race. Maybe. I would probably give it about a 7.2 out of 10. As you see, he's going around the track backwards here. I'm going to go ahead and now show the race results and statistics. Let me pull those up for
Bonnie second, Dale Jarrett third, Sterling Marlin fourth, and then Kenny Irwin in fifth, rounding out the top five. Stewart led 333 laps.
Wow.
Labonte led second. Skinner led three. And then that was about it for actually Mark Martin led one lap and Jeff Gordon led 56 and had a transmission issue.
So that's what it was. Okay. I knew it was something mechanical. I didn't know what exactly it was. How many lead changes were there, and how many cautions were there again?
Let me check. There were 6 cautions and 13 lead changes.
What's average speed? Was it around 100?
Average speed was 104.6.
Wow, that's
like,
like
0, 0.
That's like 40, almost 40 miles per hour faster than the Fairgrounds 85 race we reacted to the other day. Well, we're about to close off the stream here. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thanks for watching and subscribe to Christian and the As Boys podcast.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you all for those that still like stuck around. We appreciate you so much for watching this or reacting to this with us. Yeah, can't wait to see you next time.
All right, thank y'all so much for joining. If you haven't yet, of course, go follow Dalton and Mike. Their links are in the description below. Hopefully everything went well, technology-wise and equipment-wise. Still working on figuring out some audio difficulties we had. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and until next time, we are out. Peace.